How many of you guys have something you like to do a lot? A show of hands. Even if you think it's kind of strange to others. We are going to talk about addictions. Preview of what we're going to talk about, what exactly is addictions, common types of addictions like alcohol, drug abuse, video games, and even strange types of addictions. What is addiction? People with an addiction have no control over what they're doing, taking, or using. They become dependent on the addiction to cope with daily life, and they usually continue the addiction so they don't suffer from withdrawal and just so they feel normal. Addiction can either be dependence, substance dependence, which is drug and alcohol, or behavioral dependence, which is video games or MySpace addiction. And habit can turn into an addiction. Many of us can use a substance or engage in activities without having a problem with it. Some people suffer psychological or physical effects, and that's when the habit becomes an addiction. The difference between a habit and addiction. An addiction, the person is unable to control the addiction without the help of the mental or psychological conditions. A habit is done by choice. The person can choose to stop whenever they want without a problem. Signs of addiction. Withdrawal symptoms, social sacrifice, obsession, dropping hobbies or activities, financial difficulties, or relationship problems. What causes addiction? It's a complex brain disease. Evidence strongly suggests that genetics and biological traits can play a major role in addiction. And addiction can also shape from the environment the person grows up in. Like if someone is around alcohol a lot, they can be susceptible to alcohol addiction. And speaking of alcohol, Jessica's going to talk about alcohol addiction.
Like I said, I will be talking about alcohol and how it affects your body and the percentage routine. And how alcohol affects your body. Alcohol in the blood. Alcohol can cause several forms of anemia and blood clotting, and also using alcohol for a long period of time can also impair white blood cell function and can make the abuser likely to become infected. Alcohol in the liver. Alcohol can cause cirrhosis, which is the buildup of tissue that changes the structure of liver and blocks the blood flow. Cirrhosis can also cause varicose veins, which can rupture and potentially triggering internal bleeding. Alcohol in the heart can cause such high blood pressure, heart disease, and heart failure. And you can also get irregular heartbeats. Teen alcohol abuse statistics. Alcohol is the #1 abused substance by teens in the U.S. Underage drinkers account for 11.4% of all alcohol consumed in the U.S. Prevalence in 8th graders. 25.1% have been drunk. 15.2% have had one or more binge drinking episodes. Prevalence in 10th grade. 25.6% have had one or more binge drinking episodes. 1.9% have been daily drinking for at least 1 month at some point in their lives. Signs of alcoholism. Mood problems, such as depression, anxiety, and other things. Signs of drinking problems. Drinking alone to escape problems for the sole purpose of getting getting drunk, and hiding alcohol in odd places. And alcohol can lead to other addictions such as drugs, and Nick will talk to you about that.
Hi. All right. Yeah, today we're going to talk about some of the most familiar drugs, the 10 most dangerous drugs, which most of us have a little bit of knowledge about. Number one is tobacco. Everybody knows about tobacco. Nicotine is what is the most prevalent substance in cigarettes. That is what causes the addiction. It's more socially accepted in society these days. That's why a lot of people, it's not illegal or anything like that. And a lot of people making the laws that legalizing drugs are smokers as well. So that's why it's on the list, number 10. Buprenorphine. Suboxone is what it's commonly known as. I don't know, has anybody here ever heard of Suboxone? Okay, Suboxone, yeah. That's what a lot of people know of around here. What it is it's a opioid substitute. Okay, a lot of people that have these addictions, painkillers and stuff like that, they go to these clinics and they'll give out Suboxone, so little strips. And if you guys live around here for any period of time, you've probably come across a couple people that have been addicted to opioids and opiates and stuff like that. And Suboxone, it was originally introduced to help aid in the opioid addiction process, trying to get better. But it's so readily available that people are, it's easily accessed on the streets, so people can abuse it all the time, and it's really bad stuff. They inject it. It'll come in strips or pills. People crush it down and heat it up and inject it. That's number 9. Number 8, Xanax. Benzodiazepines. Anybody ever heard of Xanax? I'm sure. Yeah. These some people really like it. Some people don't like it so much. It's anti-anxiety. Benzodiazepine, it was originally introduced as sort of to help anxiety, people who have panic attacks, stuff like that didn't know about the harmful, processes that that come along with it. And it's been abused. This is probably one of the most abused drugs. And taken in combination with alcohol, it can produce a blackout effect. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, that's one of the. If you're addicted to Xanax and you end up drinking on it, you most definitely end up in the back of either an ambulance or a cop car. Trust me. Amphetamines. Adderall, Ritalin are the most common ones. Also, this includes methamphetamines, which is crystal meth and stuff like that. Got some pictures and stuff like that later on. I'll show you guys the devastating effects that it can cause. But this is a recreational kind of drug. And it's really easily accessible because a lot of our kids and our young elementary to college students, if you have ADD or ADHD, you get prescribed to it. And there's 2 types of people. There's the people that have the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and the people that don't. People that don't have it like to take it and they can get high off of it. They can study for long periods of time. They call it poor man's coke on the street. It's cheap to get. It's cheap to get, and you'll drop a lot of weight real quick. So a lot of girls use it as dieting drugs and stuff like that. It's really bad stuff, though, harmful side effects and stuff like that. Alcohol. So we just heard Jess talk a little bit about alcohol. It's number 6 on the most dangerous drugs, and some people don't classify it as a drug, but the people that make these drugs illegal and things like that are prevalent users of alcohol. So everybody uses it. It's just still unknown to me how it's legalized and so easily available to youth and stuff like that. But that's one of the things we're going to have to look on in the future. Number 5, ketamine. Anybody ever heard of ketamine? Special K, they call it on the streets. It was originally introduced as an animal tranquilizer. horses and cows and stuff like that. People, they use it, you can either inject it, you can snort it, and powerful hallucinations, trips for like 2 days long. It's wicked, wicked stuff. You guys want to stay away from this stuff. This is number 5, it's worse than alcohol and methamphetamines and stuff like that. It's extremely addictive. It says there it has a number of effects on the human body, including anesthesia. It's commonly used as well in general anesthesia. That's what they use to put you under and stuff like that. That's why it's so controlled. Anesthesiologists have been cool for a long time to get the exact dosage to put you guys under and stuff like that, 'cause it's a really powerful drug. Okay. Next is street methadone. You guys know what methadone is? Methadone clinics and stuff like that. If you guys, it's a lot like the Suboxone. If anybody has ever struggled with opioid addictions, Percocets and Lortabs and the blues and all the stuff that's out on the streets these days, what they'll give to you, as well as heroin too. Heroin it's an opioid drug and spawns from the same thing. But what they do is methadone clinics. If you guys are addicted, you can go there and you sort of, instead of going into a program, Circles Care or something like that, you go to this methadone clinic and they'll give you free prescriptions of it basically. You have to go once a day and they'll give it to you. But this, a lot of people don't know, this is more addictive than heroin itself. It gets into the bone marrow, and people, like heroin, say a user 6 months, it might take about 6 months to get off it and kick the habit. It's bad stuff, but methadone, the addiction gets in the blood marrow, or the bone marrow gets in the bloodstream, and it just, it can take, say you're on it for about 3 months, it can take over a year to get rid of it, and it's some of the worst withdrawal effects. I've known some people that have kicked heroin and thanks to methadone and cannot get off methadone. That is some of the worst stuff out there. Barbiturates. This was introduced later after as a safer form of a benzodiazepine. Most commonly used is, I've never heard of it before, but it's phenobarbital. Did a little bit of research on it, and it's like you guys have heard of, like they got the lollipops with the drugs on them, and people suck on them, and they get real wicked, like chronic pain and stuff like that. A lot of people use them, but it's recreational. I mean, it's abused terribly, so all kinds of people. Overdose symptoms include sluggishness, visual and speech impairment, staggering, and also coma and death. It's real similar to the Xanax properties, the anti-anxiety, depressed, down, and that kind of stuff. Most of the countries still born with cocaine. Drug is indeed a very dangerous drug. Most people are familiar with it. I'm 25 years old. I'm quite familiar with it. But there's people out there that just, it's the thing about a lot of these hard drugs that I'm talking about is, all you have to do is try it one time. Like Dr. Jackson was saying, a lot of people, you don't realize what you're getting into the first time you take it, but your body develops this physical and physiological dependence to it. You're unaware of it. The first time you try it, the endorphins and that release in the brain, just immediate addiction, and you won't feel good, you won't be able to smile, you won't be able to think any happy thoughts or anything like this until your next hit of this stuff. And cocaine's a bad one. Everybody's pretty familiar with cocaine now. Heroin. This is the #1 most dangerous drug. Derivative of opium and the most dangerous drug responsible for thousands of deaths every year. And tolerance of this drug develops very fast. The body demands more and more intake of this drug. Fatal side effects include shortness of breath, seizures, disorientation, abnormal behavior, cycles of knockout, and the whole brain stops functioning at times leading to sudden death. If you guys have ever known a heroin addict, a good thing, it doesn't say it here too, but if you want to be able to try to diagnose a heroin addict, you can see them, they'll be sitting there, they could be talking, sluggish, slow speech and stuff like that, and all of a sudden they'll nod out for like 30 seconds, and they'll be back and they won't even realize what happened. But that spawns from heroin addiction. This is some of the worst stuff out there. And it's got the same kind of effects. I've never even had an inkling to try the stuff just out of fear that I, might like it so much. And just with all the drugs out there, you know what I'm saying? You hear all these bad things about them, and somebody might try it accidentally or something, like they slip the drug, and then once they find out what it is, that's how they're hooked. But yeah, that's the worst one. Stay away from that. And if you know any heroin addicts, man, you need to. I'll talk about that later. You need to seek help. Help them seek help. This is a graph here comparing the dangers of popular drugs. As you can see down here, marijuana, okay, the least dangerous drug, in my opinion. And caffeine, if you want to classify that as a drug, yeah, you can. Here, I'll show you guys over here. Can you guys see these numbers down here? Okay. Dependence, the top one. Withdrawal, tolerance, reinforcement, and intoxication. As you see, marijuana, caffeine are the lowest. Then right after that, with one of the highest would be alcohol. That's why it's so commonly used these days. Cocaine, heroin, nicotine. Dependence, it's one of the worst. They classified it more addictive than heroin. I'm not sure why, but I got this out the FDMA, so it's a legit graph. Next slide, I'm going to show you guys. Okay, Kumari Fulbright. Does anybody know who that is? She's yeah, I'll show you. She's nice. She's a movie star, right? And with the fame, the fortune, and the money, she she got a taste of drugs, methamphetamine to be specific, crystal meth. Just her, all right, and the peak of her career. Yes. And this is what she looked like after 4 years of drug use. Yeah, that's really sad. Because I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's the next one here. This is after 5 years of use. Okay. And she's not pretty, but she's just watch, all right. Well, she's she's bearable. Look at that. Yeah, that's after 5 years of crystal meth abuse. That looks like something you see on The Walking Dead. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when people abuse these things, you can just look at them and you know they've got some personal issues when it comes to drug abuse. Okay. Yeah. When it comes to drug abuse and stuff like that, usually it spawns from people trying to escape from reality. Okay. People are not just drug abuse, but addictions in general. They want to escape, get away from the pains of everyday life, this economy, and that can, all kinds of addictions, just that escape from reality. And I'm going to hand it over to Adrian here.
Oh, bro, come on.
Video game addiction.
You know what?
There you go.
Look at that. Trade you. Come on, baby. Alright, as Nick said, I'll be covering video game addictions. Here's a nice little image. And you can tell like it's kind of addictive. You send them in the dark alone. Don't get out much. But the video game, it's basically a break from reality. And everyone wants to be like, want to fly, make breathe fire or something, throw fire from your hands, make ice, maybe like be a little fantasy character. And that's where people get their breaks from reality, and it's in video games. So I can kind of, I got no sympathy for them. Now what is it? Video game addiction, actually. It's an extreme use of computer use or console use, but it's basically it fears with, after a while, it interferes with your life. It starts becoming a problem. At one point you were just innocently playing a game, and second, you start ignoring everything around you besides just that one thing you're focusing on, and that's that screen in front of you that you can't break away from. And I believe there's also different levels of it. Because, you know, maybe like if you put it from like a 1 to 3, I would probably be on 2. Because like, 1 is like, person, you know, kind of dabbles in it, play a little, everyone's heard of Modern Warfare and stuff, and maybe some MMOs like World of Warcraft, but I'm on 2, and I play a decent amount each day. At least I gotta play a little bit of games each day. Maybe I'll get a little angry if I don't. But some game addicts, you know, they binge, and other people are fully blown, and it's usually noticeable when, you know, when they're incited, when they're not playing games, like enraged, or people call it gamer rage. And there's a picture of some guy's setup his computers. These are all laptops on the bottom here. Those are all mounted monitors, and it looks like he's playing WoW right now. He must have some really good AC to keep his room really cool. And I have a video here of gamer rage, and you know, it was easy as hell to find.
Hey,
Amenaya Triomate Sam!
You know what he's saying? He's so mad.
hey. Jag tyckte det var
Hur fan i satans jävla...
Då ska du inte klaga på varandra.
He's not mad, he's just showing his friend how good he's doing. Look, I'm doing great. See that chair? That chair could have broken any time, but he's saying something like.
You should tell me we can't even beat it. No. You suck. What the hell? Whoa!
That's my war, bro. Yeah. But it's actually not considered a psychological disorder, but according to the American Medical Association, it's the idea of it actually becoming like an official disorder. It's been proposed many times, but it's been rejected just because like of all the research and experiments they've done, like all the results have come in inconclusive. There hasn't been enough evidence to prove that it's actually a psychological addiction or a physiological stuff. And it's actually still under debate even now, a heavy debate. Now we got the signs of game addiction. These are long, I'm not gonna read all of them. The ones I'm gonna name off my head, like free time. Feel like people, you know, you see someone sitting in a room just playing games, not doing nothing else. Like maybe he can go to school, but even when he's at school, he's all tired because he played games all night. I've done that. Not keep up with homework, also me. Worsening grades, don't mention it. Lying about computer games, video games. Now, I'll tell them if I'm actually doing that. Choosing computer games or spending time with family, that's neglection right there. You see that one kid in the family who's like not as talkative as the rest. You'll have one kid explain like how he had a good day hanging out with friends, and you have another kid like sitting and eating quietly, messing with his food as he waits for like this dinner to pass. Dropping out of activities or sports to go play games. Crankiness, you know, agitated when he's not playing games, and for adults, you know, it's when they neglect their the duty as an adult, and just to play games. Like the guy that has a job, maybe he's like his boss walks around, then after the boss like leaves his little area, he like switches back to playing a game on his computer. Neglection of personal relationships. I just mentioned that. Lying, also part of an adult sign. Spending time on the internet, okay, agitated, depressed. Also, some physical symptoms such as backaches, dry eyes, headaches. People usually get, if they're not used to it by now, like if they're like fresh new at it, the back of the brain will start to hurt usually, and your eyes start to burn. That's when you know they played a little bit too much. And now we've got some extreme cases of video game addiction. And well, here's one: 40-hour Diablo 3, and the guy's name is Twing. There's an internet cafe in Taiwan. He died from playing Diablo 3 for 40 hours straight. Like, he probably go get up, use the bathroom, probably like a little drink next to him. But he didn't die instantly, like because I guess at an internet cafe you rent like hours of time that you can use on the computer, and then a waitress would come around who like bring drink and stuff. She'll come and tell you that your time is up. And she came to this man's booth and tapped him on the shoulder. He shook because he just like woke him from like a nice nap, or we probably passed out. And he got up and he took a couple steps, then he just fell down. And that's when they called the ambulance, and he died shortly after in the hospital. And that's around his life. Everyone's here been like everyone's seen a little scuffle or a little fight going on in the school, but some people probably take it a little bit too far. And this team, he played a lot of WoW or World of Warcraft, and he played apparently a gnome fire mage. And while playing the game for a long period of time, I guess he somehow or sometime lost himself while playing the game, and he thought he actually became that character. And so he got in a fight with a classmate, and he actually lit him on fire. I don't know where he got the material to do that, right in the middle of a fight, but dang. And my last case here is a 23-hour League of Legends session, and this guy's name is Chen Rong-yu. And he also went to an internet cafe in Korea, where he also rented 23 hours, and he actually used that straight 23 hours just to play LOL. He wasn't discovered until the following day. This is his stage of rigor mortis. He actually, his blood started pooling, like his hand was still on the keyboard, even after he died. It was kind of scary. He was also discovered by the waitress telling him that his time was up, and she noticed that he didn't respond to anything she said, so she shook him. His body was hard, his legs were stiff, his whole body was stiff. That's when the blood pooled, and that became his final position. And we've all seen, I talked about video games, and just talked about alcohol, and Nick talked about drugs. But those are all the common types of addictions. We haven't even touched the weird, freaky stuff. And that's when you guys can come up here and talk about it.
Strange addictions. People who suffer from strange addictions have something called obsessive behaviors. Obsessive behaviors affects everyday life. It's involved with certain subject and they cannot live without it. People think that this kind of addiction isn't bad, but it's really bad. And they do it because they think it's not as bad as drugs. Like, you don't die from it, your face won't wrinkle up like a zombie, but I will show you some cases how it affects people. First of all, nail polish drinker. You see that lady over there? Her name is Bertha. She started 5 years ago. She loves the smell of nail polish. Every time she went to the salon, she had this urge to drink that nail polish. And finally, she took a lick of the brush, and she was suddenly addicted to it. She drinks now 5 bottles a day, and she consumes 18 ounces every week, and it's more than 4,600 ounces in the last 5 years. That's pretty sad. And the effects that come from the nail polish drinker, it's possibly lung and heart and liver effects. You can damage your heart really bad. And irritation in the eye, throat, and lungs, and possibly reproductive abnormalities. It's a big deal.
My name is Bertha. I'm 23 years old. I live in Florence, Alabama, and I'm addicted to drinking nail polish.
That's where I'm from.
If I get in a fight with a girlfriend, I want to drink nail polish. If I have a bad day at work, I drink a bottle of nail polish. And if I'm sad, nail polish will get my hopes up.
Bertha's addiction began 5 years ago at a nail salon. The smell of polish became so enticing, Bertha couldn't resist the urge to taste it.
I don't know what went through my mind, but I nicked the whole polish off my nail, and I liked it.
Since then, Bertha's addiction to nail polish has intensified. Now she drinks about 5 bottles every day.
There's actually different ways how I drink nail polish. Saving it, taking a shot out of it, licking the nail polish brush.
The color makes it taste different. My favorite one is blue. Okay.
That's the first one. The second one, loving my car. I know a lot of guys here, they love their car, but probably not as extreme as this. Look at this. His name is Nathaniel. And he has been in a relationship with his car for the last 5 years. And his car's name is Chase. Chase, right here, this red car, is a 1998 Chevy Monte Carlo. And Nathaniel go on dates with it, buys gifts for it, and even have sexual intercourse with it. And ever since the broadcast of this My Strange Addiction, he's been seeing a therapist.
Morning, baby. Handsome man.
It's a guy, stop.
Nathaniel is in a committed relationship with a car that he's named Chase. He met Chase in a resale lot about 5 years ago.
I won't show you too much of this. And third case, sniffing baby powder. This is her. Her name is Jay. You might look like cocaine, but it's just common baby powder. She's been sniffing for the past 16 years. First, it started with a rub on the skin, and then she stuffed it up to her nose. And she needs at least 10 times sniffing the baby powder once a day. And she snorted about 1,125 pounds since addiction began. And the whole place that she lived in, her house, her pillow, everything is filled with baby powder.
My name is Jay. I'm 28 years old, and I'm addicted to snorting baby powder.
Oh my God.
If I didn't have baby powder, I don't think I would be able to function.
Jay?
And the last case is her. Her name is Sheila. And she spent about $200,000 on her boobies. She has received 22 breast transplants and to receive her triple M bust. It's like this big. And in 2009, she had a fatal breast infection, so she had to take everything out to her regular decom. But 15 days after the surgery, she went back and got a bigger size. 38 triple K, not KKK. And the effects are back pain, burn sensation on her breast, and a fatal infection on her breast, and a lot of fever. Here's a picture since it wouldn't fit on the other side. That's her.
I'm having a lot of back pain. And my breast, I have this kind of soreness, like a burn sensation.
In 2009, Shayla contracted a near-fatal infection in her breast and needed emergency surgery to save her life.
I was having like 105 degrees fever. I never felt that scared.
And to wrap everything up, Nick is going to tell you guys about how to prevent these addictions.
All right. Today we learned a lot about, different addictions, the more commonly known and the ones, a little bit stranger. But this is a really serious subject, and a lot of people. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands or anything, but I'm going to. I'm going to actually write up here, if that's okay. It's a website, and if people don't have time to, go to the rehab clinics and the addiction centers and stuff like that. There's a place called turntohelp.com. If you guys know anybody or you yourselves are struggling with any of these addictions, it's in your best interest to find some help as soon as possible, because this can be a fatal effect. And although, you know, the thing that everybody is so afraid of, and the thing that keeps the addiction going, is everybody's afraid of the withdrawal symptoms. That's the worst part, is coming off. But there's a lot of programs out there that can help. There's a program with video game addiction. It's like $50,000 over in Australia or something like that. But I mean, you know, there's programs out there designed to help people who suffer from some of these things. And if you or you know anybody that needs any help, that's the website to go to. That's it. Thanks, guys.